So in this one, we're going to show a little bit more about query sets, more importantly on how they apply to these foreign keys and how we can see this data come through, so we can actually start to ask our users these questions that we've created, these questions and answers that we've created. So if we look at our homepage here, we've got you are logged in, and that's coming from our newsletter views.py. Long term, I'm probably not going to keep this in our newsletter views. I'll probably change where the home location is yet again if you followed us in Try Django 1.8, because this doesn't fully make sense for us to have our entire homepage based off of an app called Newsletter, because that app itself is not necessarily what long term what we'll want to use. So we might have to refactor our code a little bit here and there. But for now, we're going to work with our actual objects from questions. So the models that we need to import are from questions.models, import question. And that's all I'm going to import. Because there's an association between answer and question, I don't need to import the answers themselves. So down here, we've got signup.objects order by timestamp. We can do that exact same thing with question. And I'm going to get rid of all these comments that we had before, because we do not need them anymore. Okay. And then I'll get rid of if staff. Don't need that either. And we'll get rid of some of these other comments. Cool. So now that we've got this, we've got a query set from these questions. If we run through here, we see that we do have some homepage stuff on how we might want to see these things. Of course, it's not coming through actually because of how our query set was designed and what we're taking from before. So let's go to the home page, which is in this template right here, which in this case is home.html. So let's open this up. And we are going to get rid of this. We'll get rid of some things. So if request user is authenticated, we want to change how this is. But it's getting a little convoluted. So what I'm going to do is if the request user is authenticated, I'm going to change this to being, let's say, home.index.html. So, or let's call it home/questions. So we're actually going to take a look at if it's authenticated, it's going to go to a completely different HTML page. So in our templates, we're going to go ahead and, we should actually call this questions home, the other way around, actually. So in here, we'll do a new folder, call it questions. And inside of questions, we're going to give it a home.html. So this is going to be our questions home. It might not necessarily be the actual homepage down the line, but for now, we're just going to be testing stuff. So we've got a query set here of objects.questions.object.all. And just like what we've done before is extends base.html. So we're just making the file for it, and then block content in block. And here we'll just say query set. And let's loop through this query set. Also say for, in this case it's item or it's an object, so we could say for object in query set. We could also say for question, so we know what we're talking about, but we already do know what we're talking about, but let's just do that. So for question in query set, and we'll say in for. So question, of course, is an instance of the model question. Right, so it's standing for an instance. So we can say question.text, because we can use dot notation to get the different fields here. And then we can also say question.answerSet.all, which will also give us the answers. So if we load in here, we refresh, we see that we've got our question and answers. We've got a few things here. So let's go ahead and get rid of this query set. And now I'm going to actually make a list element here. So we'll do just li and li, so we can see it a little bit better. Is this true? And it says answer. Then it gives us another query set full of answers. Right, so that this is actually another query set. So in here I can say for answer, or ANS for short, in queryset.all. We'll put this into a UL list. And we'll just say answer, ans.text, and put this into a list element as well. We refresh in here. Now we've got our questions and our answers that are associated based off of the question query set itself. which is really cool. This allows us to see that we actually have these questions coming through, and it's showing this data. Now, granted, you could use this data in all sorts of ways, but for us, we're going to use it to actually save this data in the database based off of a user's preference. All right, so now that we've got this, let's go ahead and stop here. And in the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to convert this question homepage into being a way to actually answer questions and then go through all the different questions that we might have. So the next one is just about having the user actually answer any sort of question and then saving that in the database. It's going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the admin stuff so far, but it will be something that you'll use in production so the end users will actually see it. Because if you remember, the admin area should be only for you and your small staff. It shouldn't be for thousands of users at all. That's not what the Django admin is made for. All right, so if you have any questions on this, let us know. Otherwise, let's keep going.